Hey, hey, hey. Good. I feel like every time I turn around, it's Friday.
Hey, Gordon.
Hey, what's up?
Not much. Hey, Jeremy, how are you? Shabbat Shalom. Good to see you.
Hey, how's it going? Good, how are you?
Good, nice to see you.
You too. Rock, scissors,
That should be the new, it's going to be elbow, fist bump, or air five.
Yeah,
That's going to be
exactly.
the new version of...
There's the religious school attendance.
How's the battery looking? I wanted to let it sit for a minute to make sure we didn't have a false charge. Perfect. That's great. Fun trick. When you fire them right up, they'll read full. You give them about 5 minutes or so. And oh, just kidding. We're actually on 40%.
Right. Yeah.
Oh boy, we got a whole bunch of new names added to the healing list. Okay.
Any changes to the program?
No, we're just doing YouTube from this point forward, right?
Sure, yes.
So,
Well, what's changed a little
we're not
bit?
doing Zoom. Oh,
No, I just meant in terms of the
Yeah,
service.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm
well,
just-
what's
Yeah,
changed
yeah.
is that we have kids who are going to be leading stuff, so we're going to need a mic. Or they can come up here.
they
but
can just come up here.
if they're
Yeah,
going to
we
be
can hand it. Do
seen,
you want a mic on a handheld here?
they just need to be seen and heard however we want to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be a group of like 4 to 6 or 7.
And they're quiet.
I figure they can stand here.
They
when-
won't be seen if they're back here because they're little.
So where do you think we should do it?
Well,
It's just the Baruch and we'll go right to the Shema. So we'll skip that middle stuff.
I can toss a trash mic right here on the stand.
yeah, well, the camera, I guess the camera's good.
camera's fine.
Yeah, let's just put a
I mean,
thing
do you
right
want me
there.
to have them stand up front?
Well,
But
I don't
and
know
then
if they
someone
would.
would have to hold a mic.
No, he's going to set up.
Yeah,
He'll
maybe
take-
we'll.
he's a sound guy. Let him take
Okay,
care of it.
so-
We tell him what we need, and he'll
All right,
take
so
care
yeah,
of it.
why don't we just have them stand in front?
You got it. Okay, I'll set the mic on the stand, and whenever it's time, just pick it up.
Don't worry, I'll train him.
1 second.
Okay.
So we'll call them up for they'll do the Baruch and the Shema. We'll skip the middle stuff, and then they can sit down for the Haftarah. Will that work?
Well, somebody's leading the haftarah. One of the kids is.
Hold on,
leading
I'm sorry, Mark. Well, that's okay, but you're president, so everything's important. Gordon?
Emmett, I think, is leading the haftarah.
Okay.
Did you hear that?
Emmett? He's not on the list I have.
Oh, okay. Well, he led it during outside, so maybe he's not then. I just thought.
Here,
That.
I was told,
Okay, then you got the latest.
yeah, Leah gave me the list of kids who hopefully are gonna be here. I'm gonna call them, well, go ahead, Mark, because I need to go over some stuff with Gordon.
Is there any possibility, not me, is there any possibility of getting another person to your wine?
The spirits and spirituality? You just
Check,
have to
check, check.
with
Hey,
Lauren.
hey.
She's the one dealing with the place, yeah. I have no problem with it, but who wants to? Oh, yeah, I mean, yeah, Lauren is talking to the place, so
Is she here today?
Yeah, I'll start.
I don't know if she's gonna be here. Yeah, I just wanted to see her. Yeah, okay, thanks, Mark.
I'll leave this just on the side here.
Shabbat Shalom. All right, Mark. After your opening song and my opening remarks, I'm going to have Jenny and Tula come up to light the candles. Then I'm going to have Jana do this poem. Let's just do one song. Do you want to do your new Vishamber?
I mean, it's not new, but we
But at
did
least it'd
do
be
it
a
here.
plug. Do you want to do that one?
Yeah, I'll do some of it. Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
And then after that, I'm going to call up, according to Leah, Jonah, Gwen, Griffin, Max, and Jordan should all be here. Elliot, Jonas, and Eva are a maybe, so we'll just see. So whoever's here, I'm going to call up. Tula's too young. And 6th grade, whoever's here from 6th grade will do Baruch.
Cholula's too young for what?
Tula.
Tula, right.
She's not in 4th or,
Oh, she's not in?
yeah, and same with B. They're too young, so I'm not going to call them up. I'll call them up at the end for like the Motzi. So anyway, let's just go directly from the Baruch to the Shema. They'll be standing right there. And then, should I have everyone sit, or do you want anybody to do the way after?
Well, if nobody's leading it,
I think they should sit, because she's been specifically teaching them this.
that's fine. Then I'll just do one of the fun.
Yeah, have them sit, and then you can do one of the fun ones, then we'll just go on. And then I'll just call them all back up again at the very end, who are any students who are here.
Okay, and what are you doing it for a draw sheet?
Well, it's National Refugee Shabbat, highest ordinance. So I'm just going to do a teaching on these 3 passages about loving the stranger.
Kind song.
Sure. You can do that at the end, the
That
beginning.
might be
whatever.
good, yeah.
Hey, I heard you're psyched. I'm glad.
Like, I think
Now,
like today.
you and me, so you're going to come up with your mom to light candles. Do you know Lahavlik Ner Shel Shabbat? Do you know that blessing? Gordon will help.
We'll do it all together.
We'll do it all together. You'll light the
stand there, look
candles, and
beautiful,
then the four of us will do it. I'm gonna call, and then you'll come up again at the end for the announcements. If you want to take a quick look, yeah, it's just under announcements. And then Tula, at the very, very end, I'm gonna call you and B and all the other students back up, just to stand here when we do the motzi. Okay? All right, so you'll be a star tonight.
I have two questions. One is, I understand that Purim is no longer commonly.
It's not, and unfortunately, it wasn't corrected in the emails that went out.
Okay.
But
So
no,
I will
it's
just
not.
say join us here.
Yeah,
I didn't know
thank
that
you for
either.
catching. Yeah, we
Okay.
can't. It's
Sound like it just evolved.
it just
right?
happened yesterday, and Lauren didn't get it. Didn't correct anything.
And then do I have to say all these birthdays and wishes?
Yeah. Well.
Oh,
Yeah.
do we read
Is
all
it
the names?
for March? Oh, that's a lot. Do you?
Can I just say yes?
Oh, I didn't know.
Why do you think I work by myself, one-on-one with people?
That's a lot of
Has
names.
panic disorder. They're really.
I mean,
yeah.
normally we have read them. We have, and I'm going to invite up anyone who's here who's got a birthday anniversary. But I don't know though.
We'll see.
Can you read them? Okay.
Is
Good.
there anyone whose name is particularly difficult?
I don't know. Unfortunately, I don't have the time to look
Your
at it.
brother,
My brother?
ears, should have been burning the other day.
You know my brother?
I don't. One of my best friends worked with him at Lehigh Charter School, and he's like her mentor.
Glenn. Oh,
Glenn.
he's a genius. He's a great
That's
educator.
what I hear. Well, and I
you
said, well, I
pronounce
mean,
that?
it's the family.
He was a
It's the
perfect
Lustig
child too,
family.
you know. So there you go. But he's a brilliant educator.
Lauren put this here. Would you pronounce it Galaz or Galazi? She has a Z separately. I don't know.
Galaz.
No,
Oh,
no, it's got to be just Galaz. Galaz.
Galaz. Yeah. I don't know why she separated
I don't
the Z.
know why she did that either. And Beverly Eigner. Okay.
And it's no different than what's there. Why is it Galazi? Galaz.
Yeah.
So that we wouldn't be cutting off the kids, I had to reframe the shot a little bit lower. So if you could just stick tight to the front edge of this, we'll keep you in the frame.
You mean when they're up here?
Yeah.
What
no,
about
just
when
in
they're
general? Just
in
if,
general?
if you're going to be up here, don't stand too far back. Just stand where you usually
What
do.
about when I give my drash? Can I be in the middle?
You're perfectly framed there. That's what I'm saying. Not you have to be on this side. You want to step back away from it.
You will not sure I understand. But those will all be on. And then did you really nice? Now, so that will be up for the candles at the beginning, and then. So are you gonna move that, or? Shabbat Shalom. בסדר?
תגיד, אז יש לך תוכנית שלמה very tight?
כן.
Okay.
Why? Do you need to leave at a specific time?
No, I just wanted to read one poem in Hebrew. Today is my mother's 1 year anniversary.
So when do you want to do it?
Page 145.
Sorry, I'm having some last minute craziness because we have a lot going on tonight.
Oh, there is?
So you want to read something,
Just, yeah, just that in Hebrew.
this one.
Let me see. Don't worry. Yeah, this one. It's my mother's very favorite.
So do you want me to call you up?
No, I'll read it from up there.
So do you want me just to call you out and you'll just read it from,
Yeah, I'll just read it from there.
okay,
When you get around to...
so we'll do that.
It's 145, page
145.
145.
So you know what I'll, no, it's okay. You know what I'm going to do? Jonah, one of our students, I'm going to have him read this poem. When he's done with that, I will say, Rivka Livni has a passage that she'd like to read in Hebrew.
Okay,
And then you can just stand up and read it.
sounds good.
Okay.
You remember?
I hope so. I need it. I hope so.
Okay, we're checking the mic structure. Checking the mic. The mic is being checked right now as we speak, and I hear him adjusting it. And you good? You good on that? Move this. Oh, move that. Like that. Oh, okay. Well, as long as it's sitting on my ears where I can. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let me grab a kippah. There's one here. Yeah. I guess Bowie Kala is not here. Huh? Okay, well, I was looking for Bowie Kala. I guess that's not in here. But it should be part of the Lachadodi.
Lachadodi.
Yeah.
It's at the very end.
Well, let's see, is it here on those?
Page 139, right there. Bowie, Kala, Bowie,
Oh,
Kala.
it's not, that's, yeah, okay. We're going to start with a song that welcomes the Sabbath bride. And it's part of the Lecha Dodi. You'll find it on page 139. The very last line, we're just going to sing welcome bride, or come bride, Bowie Chala. It goes like this. Bowie Chala, Bowie Chala, Bowie Chala, Bowie Chala. Bowie Chala, Bowie Chala, Bowie Chala, Bowie Chala. And at camp, we used to clap like this. We'd go, Bowie Chala, Bowie Chala, Bowie Chala, Bowie Chala. Bowie Chala, Bowie Chala. We'll try it again. Bowie Chala, Bowie Chala. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Pnei Shabbat, Nekabela. Bowie Kala, Bowie Kala, Bowie Kala, Bowie Kala. Bum, 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 bum. Bowie Kala, Bowie Kala, Bowie Kala, Bowie Kala. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Pnei Shabbat. Now we do this in one breath. You ready? Nekabela. Bowie Chala, Bowie Chala, Bowie Chala, Bowie Chala. Bowie Chala, Bowie Chala, Bowie Chala, Bowie Chala. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Pnei Shabbat, Pnei Shabbat, Nekabela. Last time. Bowie Kala, Bowie Kala, Bowie Kala, Bowie Kala. Bowie Kala, Bowie Kala, Bowie Kala. Now we go Bowie, Bowie Kala. Ole. Yes.
How do I segue
I think
from
it's Oive.
Oive, right? No.
Hey.
We segue from Ole to Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Good Shabbos to all of you. It's so nice to see so many of you tonight. We have a lot going on. First and foremost, this is a family Shabbat, and we have a number of our students here. I see almost every single person I was told was going to be here is here, which is great. Our students are going to come up a little bit later to do some readings, some prayers, some blessings, and we're just so overjoyed that we have such great representation from school and from our parents. We even have some students who are in the younger grades who we're going to honor in a way that I'm going to surprise you with a little bit later. This is also National Refugee Shabbat. HIAS, the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society, and their executive director spoke here pre-COVID, has organized this annual event. Hundreds of synagogues around North America are honoring refugees through prayer, through readings, through teachings, which we're going to do tonight as well. And I can't think of a more appropriate time to be thinking about honoring and trying to support refugees than right now. And of course, our thoughts and our prayers as always, are with the people of Ukraine during this war. So we're going to be talking about that throughout the service. We're going to start, though, on page 120 with the lighting of our Shabbat candles. And for that, I would like to invite up Jenny and Tula Shuley.
We'll just say it. Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
And then we'll sing it too, okay? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Thank you.
Jenny told me that when I asked them to light candles tonight, Tula was, quote, very, very psyched. So Tula, was this everything you hoped it would be? Okay, good. Thank you. I would like to invite up another one of our students, Jonah, to join us, or not to join us, but to lead us in the reading of a very famous poem, very appropriate for refugees. It was written by a Jewish woman many decades ago. It's called the New Colossus, and I think you'll recognize some of these words which are engraved at the base of the Statue of Liberty.
Not like the brazen giant of Greek fame, with conquering limbs astride from land to land, here at our sea-washed sunset gates shall stand a mighty woman with a torch whose flame is the imprisoned lightning, and her name, Mother of Exiles. From her beacon hand goes worldwide welcome, her mild eyes command the air-bridged harbor that twin cities frame. Keep ancient lands your storied pomp, cries she, with silent lips. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, the tempest-tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door.
Thank you, Jonah. And obviously, Emma Lazarus had the Jewish people in mind, as well as lots of other people trying to get to this country and to experience freedom. Of course, there are many, many numbers of refugees, not only in the Ukraine, but in other countries around the world that are also yearning to be free right now. We're going to continue with a song that Gordon has just made a video of. I saw it on Facebook. It's called Vishamru. I think many of us know this prayer, but I don't know if you want to make a plug for your video. You don't? Okay. But it's very, very good, and a number of people from CBS are in the video. Laura Schumer, I know, is in it. I saw her and some other people I didn't recognize.
Oh, did you recognize Barbara Lustig?
Yes, your mom was there too. But check it out, and Gordon's going to sing it now. It's on page 162, and then we're going to continue with another reading.
Okay. Yeah, it's not new to you guys, but it's new to the YouTube.
And by the way, I neglected to mention, because we have a lot going on tonight, there are a number of guests here with us this evening. So if you're here for the first time, or the second time, or if you're here only intermittently, a very special welcome to you. And you may not know this particular melody, so you can teach it a little bit too.
Wow. Okay. Excuse me, we're going to have a meeting. Oh.
Right. Let's set up a committee.
Yeah. Okay.
Synagogues love committees.
So you'll find this on 162. You should all know it. We'll start with the lies, even though. Go lie, 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 lie. Vishamru, B'nai Yisrael. Vishamru, B'nai ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם. ברית עולם, לי, 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 לי. ביני ובין בני ישראל לא תהיה לעולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל לא תהיה לעולם. ושמעו בני ישראל, ושמעו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם. ברית עולם, לי, 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 לי. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמעו בני ישראל, ושמעו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם. ברית עולם. This is the last line in the prayer. Here we go. Uvayom, uvayom hashvi'i shavat vayi nafash. Repeat that line. Uvayom hashvi'i shavat vayi nafash. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael, v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et hashabat, la'asot et hashabat, la'asot et hashabat לדורותם. ברית עולם, לי, 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 ושמרו.
We continue on page 145, and I'd like to ask Rivka Livni to stand and read this prayer for us. It's the yahrzeit of her mother this week, and Rivka approached me before services and said this was something that was very meaningful to her, so please honor us.
למדני אלוהי דואג להתפלל, לעשות עלי כמל, ענוג אבי בשם, על החירות הזאת, לראות, לחוש, לנשום, לדעת, לייחל ולהיכשל. למד את שפתותיי ברכה ושיר הלל, להתחדש זמנך, עם בוקר ועם ליל, לבל יהיה יומי היום כתמול ששון, לבל יהיה עלי יומי יותר.
Would you read it in English also? I'll read it in English then. Thank you. Teach me, O God, a blessing, a prayer, on the mystery of a withered leaf, on ripened fruit so fair, on the freedom to see, to sense, to breathe, to know, to hope, to despair. Teach my lips a blessing, a hymn of praise, as each morning and night you renew your days. Lest my day be today as the one before, lest routine set my ways. I mentioned that we had a number of CBS students, religious school students, who are here tonight on this family Shabbat. So I have the honor of inviting a number of them up right now, our 4th, 5th, and 6th graders. I mentioned that those of you who are not in 4th, 5th, and 6th, we're going to honor you differently a little bit later in the service. But could I call up Jonah, Gwen, Griffin, Max, Jordan, Elliot, Jonas, and Eva.
Go. You guys right up here.
Who's leading these blessings here? Can you all come? Why don't you come? All come stand like in the middle. So, yeah.
They won't be able to hear you all the way over here.
Okay.
So they're going to lead
Yeah, why
the
don't you make
sixth
a? You
grade
can go and look. Yeah,
students
that's.
are going to lead us in the Baruch, and then we're going to go immediately from the Baruch to the Shema, and that one's going to be led by our 4th and 5th grade students. So Gordon, would you help out?
Yeah, you ready?
6th grade, the Baruch is on page 146.
Hold on. Ready? 2. Ready? And. All right.
We're going to turn now to page 152 for the Shema, and as I said, this will be led by our 4th and 5th grade students.
Okay. Ready?
Thank you all. Please be seated.
Love Adonai your God. Love Adonai your God. Love Adonai your God. Love Adonai your God. With all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. We'll try it again. With all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might. Love Adonai your God. Love Adonai your God. Love Adonai your God. Love Adonai your God. Take these words that I command this day and keep them in your heart. Take these words that I command this day and keep them in your heart. Love Adonai your God. Love Adonai your God. Love Adonai your God. Love Adonai your God.
We continue on page 157, and please join me in reading the English passage at the top of the page. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. Micha Mocha is on page 158.
Okay, we have a good sized group here, so we can do it in a round, which we haven't really done. So it goes
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. I'll do it a little lower. Mi chamocha ne'edar ba'kodesh. That's one section. Then the next section is Nora tehilot osefele. So that one line, Nora tehilot, you can just do that because it's fewer words if you want. But that goes at the same time as the first part. So we'll just start it all together and I'll try to divide you up. Here we go. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. Mi chamocha ne'edar ba'kodesh. Do that again. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. Mi chamocha ne'edar ba'kodesh. Next part. Torah tehilot osefele. Okay, together. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. Mi chamocha ne'edar ba'kodesh. We're going to divide you right down the center here. So you're going to be with this group. The rest of you are going to be over that group. Okay, so get ready. You're going to start at the beginning. And then you're going to keep going and you're going to start at the beginning. Okay, it'll be all clear once you. Here we go. Ready? And Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. Mi chamocha ne'edar. Now sing Nora. No, Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. Osefele. Osefele. Mi chamocha hilot osefele osefele mi charate hilot keep going ele osefele. Okay, so when you see my hands do this, many people have not seen an orchestra and a conductor, especially with COVID. We can blame COVID on a lot of things. Right. No sense of rhythm. That's COVID. It's a COVID thing. It's like when you lose your sense of taste, you also lose your sense of rhythm. Right. And I mean, you could look it up. It's on Google. I mean, you can assign.
That's good. It's COVID's fault.
Yeah, it's COVID.
Anything that goes wrong.
That's right.
Okay.
That was actually very, very good. Thank you. Okay.
We're going to continue on page 161. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom, Elenu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. Page 160.
Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu b'shalom, b'shalom. V'hamidenu shomreinu l'chayim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom. V'hamidenu shomreinu l'chayim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Shelter us beneath your wings, O Adonai. light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. 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 Amen.
Please take a moment now for your own silent thoughts and prayers.
You'll find some of this on page 176 at the very top. Modim anachnu lach, sha'atahu Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu, le'olam va'ed. Modim anachnu lach, sha'atahu Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei v'imoteinu, le'olam va'ed. Modim anachnu lach, sha'atahu Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu, le'olam va'ed. Modim anachnu lach, sha'atahu Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei imoteinu, le'olam va'ed. Oh, give thanks for the sky above, for the new snow of December, for the spring and a summer song that the autumn winds remember. Oh, sing out for the love that grows and the life that flows within us. Oh, be glad for another day. Modim anachnu lach, sha'atahu Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu, le'olam va'ed. Modim anachnu lach, sha'atahu Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei imoteinu, le'olam va'ed. Eloheinu v'Elohei imoteinu, le'olam va'ed.
We pause now in our service to think of those in need of healing on this Shabbat, healing of body, healing of spirit, and healing of heart. And we ask God to bestow the bracha, the blessing of refuah shlema, full and complete healing, on the following men and women from our community or those known and loved by those in our CBS family. Lynn Feingold, Ilana Massey, Kevin Brackett, Jenny Sims, Eileen Conklin, Nancy Jeanette, Michelle Camissia, Joshua Hyman, Dylan Bonnick, Diane Butler, Elsa Loach, Elena Goldman, Mark Charney, Michael Edwards, Jesse Friedman, Scott Stern, Tom Sabo, Martha Gallas, Yolanda Gallas, Judy Nystrom, and Beverly Eigner. I'd also like to add all those in Ukraine who are injured or traumatized by what is going on in their country right now. If anyone has a name that they wish to add, I invite you to please do so. And if you're at home, feel free to type it into the chat. The Misha Barak prayer is on page 511.
This will be in the key for altos, just so you know. Misha Barak Avotenu Mikor HaBracha Le'imotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishe Berach Imotenu V'kor HaBracha Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Shabbat Shalom. Good Shabbos again to all of you who are with us, those of you watching from home. As I said at the outset, this is National Refugee Shabbat, and we are among hundreds of congregations that are honoring refugees with a special focus on those who are struggling in Ukraine and in Europe on this Shabbat and during this week. And I have a few passages that I wanted to share with you from the Jewish tradition, both ancient and contemporary, that speak to the situation of refugees and asylum seekers. The first passage I want to read is from the book of Leviticus, chapter 19. A lot of really poignant, powerful, and poetic verses occur in chapter 19 of Leviticus, including one of the very first ones. It says, I, the Lord your God, am holy, and I want you to be like me. You shall be like the Lord your God and be holy. So there's a lot about imitation in this chapter, about how God is, what God's nature is, and how we are instructed to follow that nature, to be like God toward others. So this is an example of it. And in verse 34 it says, the stranger who resides with you shall be to you as one of your citizens. You shall love him as yourself, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. I, the Lord, am your God. Now, whenever this was written, certainly it was at least 3,000 years, probably 2,500 or 3,000 years ago, the ancient Israelites certainly knew about refugees. It was not just the Jewish people who traversed the desert of Sinai for 40 years. They picked up others. Moses himself married a Midianite woman, and people from her family were part of this journey toward the Promised Land. And throughout Jewish history, others have traveled with the Jewish people. So here's a passage from the Bible, from the book of Leviticus, that tells us not just to tolerate the stranger that is residing with us, but to actually love that stranger, because we were strangers in the land of Egypt. So it's a verse that is teaching us to have empathy, to have compassion, and to have a sense of identification, so that when we see a stranger, when we see a refugee among us, we should remember that we were in that state as well. And maybe not us personally, but at least in our spiritual imaginations. Think about the Passover Seder and the Passover Haggadah when we say, we were slaves in the land of Egypt. We're meant to imagine that we ourselves were slaves at one point. Not that they were slaves, but that we were slaves. So empathy and compassion, I think, are at the heart of this verse from Leviticus. If you jump ahead 1,000 years to the Talmud, there's another passage that I think is very interesting as it relates to refugees. It says, why did the Torah, and the Talmud often starts with a question and then tries to answer it. Why did the Torah call our attention in 36, and some say 46, even back then rabbis could never agree on anything, 36 or 46 places in the Torah about the stranger? The Hebrew word for stranger is ger. Because, the answer comes, their nature is precarious. The Talmud teaches us that refugees, asylum seekers, strangers, their lives are precarious. They are sometimes traveling to another country with nothing but the clothes that they're wearing or whatever they're carrying on their backs. Some of us have parents or grandparents who went through a situation like this in Eastern Europe or in other countries. I know my grandparents and their parents went through a situation like this. We can't ignore their plight. That's what the Talmud seems to be teaching us, because their nature is precarious. They're among the most vulnerable of all human beings. Now, in the Bible, we're also told in some of the prophetic books to protect the widow and the orphan. What do the widow and the orphan have in common with the refugee? They're all vulnerable in different ways. So because the refugee is vulnerable, because the refugee is in a precarious and difficult situation, we are especially obligated 36 or 46 times to show compassion on them, to be gracious to them, to love them even. And then the final passage I want to share with you is from Rabbi Jonathan Sax, who died recently, who was the chief rabbi in the UK. I know we have a couple guests who are from the UK, and you may or may not have heard of Rabbi Sax, but he writes a beautiful passage about these ideas, and I'm going to read it right now. He's quoting back to the first verse I read earlier from the book of Leviticus, and he says, the Hebrew Bible contains the great command, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. And this has often been taken as the basis of biblical morality, but it is not. It is only part of it. We often think, love your neighbor as yourself is one of the greatest Jewish teachings in the world. It's very famous. We all know it. He's saying that's only part of the equation. And he says that the Jewish sages noted that on only one occasion, just one, does a Hebrew Bible command us to love our neighbor. So it only says love your neighbor as yourself just once. But in 37 places. So one says 36, 46, he's saying it's 37. It's a lot, whatever it is. In 37 places, it commands us, the Bible commands us, to love the stranger. Our neighbor is one we love because he or she is like ourselves. We see ourselves in them. The stranger is one we are taught to love precisely because he or she is not like ourselves. It's a beautiful passage when you really think about it. It's easy to love our strangers, to love our neighbors. We have neighbors here in Napa, all of us do. Hopefully, unless you have a problem with your neighbor, it's easy to like your neighbors. You do favors for each other, maybe you bring each other milk, whatever it is. And often they look, I know you're laughing at me, milk, sugar, maybe that's just in the movies. But in any event, we identify with our neighbors. We live on the same street. We live next to each other. Often, because of segregation, we look like one another. I know, having lived in New York for 20 years and then also Chicago, unfortunately, because of segregation, all of my neighbors looked pretty much like me. So it's easy to love someone who looks like you, who is in the same socioeconomic bracket as you, who you interact with on a daily basis. And that's why, according to Rabbi Sax, the Torah tells us only once, because it's pretty easy to do that. What is much harder is to love someone who doesn't look like you, who doesn't talk like you, who comes from a different background than you do. And this is the refugee. This is the stranger. This is the person who is vulnerable and who is trying to rebuild their lives in this new land that can sometimes be frightening and that is often a struggle. The stranger is the other, and loving the other is a lot harder than loving the neighbor. And again, for Rabbi Sax, that's why the Torah reminds us to love the stranger over and over and over again. And the Talmud does the exact same thing. So I would just leave you tonight with the idea that this is our challenge. Our challenge is not only to support the refugee, the asylum seeker, the stranger. And some of us, Marlo, some of us in this room have done just that. Maybe not necessarily with Ukrainian refugees, but with other refugees from Central America, from Afghanistan, and elsewhere. But it's a challenge to support refugees. It's a challenge to love people who are so different from us. But that's also our obligation. A lot of the teachings, the rituals, the instruction in the Torah is a challenge. It's hard for all of us. But it's also an opportunity. It's also an obligation. And on this National Refugee Shabbat, I hope you will join me in confronting this challenge and working on our own and together as a congregation to do our small part to try to help the refugee, the stranger, the asylum seeker among us, or through organizations that we've sent out earlier this week, HIAS, the World Union for Progressive Judaism. There are a lot of others, through financial support and through anything else you can do. If we do that, we are honoring the legacy of our tradition that goes back thousands and thousands of years. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may it be God's will. We're going to turn now to page 586 for the Elenu, and I promised that some of our younger students, I'd have something to involve you with, so I'm going to ask B and Tula to come up to the bima. I hope I'm not embarrassing you. I don't think so, because I want you to open the ark for us. And I'm going to ask everyone else to please rise, and we're going to sing Elenu.
You want you one on one side? Yeah. Okay, hold on. Let's do it together. Okay, why don't you put your hand here? Okay, go ahead. You can open it all the way. Okay, that's good. There you go. Okay. 586. Aleinu l'shabech la'adon ha'kol, לתת גאולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הרצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. Weren't they expert ark openers? That was I've been a rabbi 27 years. That's the best opening of an ark I have ever seen.
They should be our regular opening act.
They could be our opening. I have the honor now of inviting up board member and friend and mother of Tula, Jenny Shuley, to share some important announcements with us tonight.
Bring my assistant with me.
Yeah.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
All right. Tomorrow at 5 p.m., our 6th and 7th graders and their parents are having their March gathering for Moving Traditions. You want to do that one?
Sunday at 9:30 a.m., both religious school and
Shorshim
will take place. If you have any questions about any youth programs, you're encouraged to reach out to
Leah Savage. March 8th at 7 p.m., we are looking forward to the Hebrews Bowling, hosted by Mark Samarick. Evening at Napa Bowling, come to bowl or just to socialize. RSVP online on the CBS website or via the emailed newsletter link. If you're interested in attending the monthly CBS board meeting on March 15th at 7 p.m., you are welcome to contact Mark Samarick for more information. As a reminder, Spirits and Spirituality with Rabbi Goldstein at Napa Distillery is scheduled for Wednesday, March 16th at 7:15 p.m. This program was rescheduled from January. All ticket holders from the original date are set for the new date. You want to do that one?
Last but certainly not least, Sunday, March 20th, we will be celebrating
Purim.
Join us at
CBS.
That's
a mistake. From
10 a.m. to 1 p.m. in costumes and ready for activities,
Spiel,
and picnic lunch. The event is free and you can pre-purchase your picnic lunch of sandwich, chips, and cookies for $10. Each online will reserve
RSVPing. All right, we'd like to give warm wishes to this month's birthdays and anniversaries, and there's many, so I apologize in advance if I butcher them. Happy birthday to Alan Ballack, David Safer, Susan Segal Wood, Shecky Maluso, Howard Eisenstark, Micah Eisenberg, Ayal Kaduri, Jason Kreis, Stephanie Honig, Aaron Starr, Fred Hacker, Hadass and Eli Ladrigan, Eve Kahn, Bunny Goldstein, Scott Stern, Michael Blattis, Jana Waldinger, Austin Guggenheim, Marlo Cohen, Peter Gennett, Benjamin Baruch, Alan Bergman, Debbie Alterstar, Jonas Kaufman, Lauren Kaplan, Jason Miller, Michelle Frisch, Talia Orr, Jason Loring, Kevin Brackett, Brett Bergman, and Ernie Weir. We would also like to wish a happy anniversary to Leona and Carl Rice, Mark and Sylvia Samrick, Nancy and Peter Gennett, Liz and Stephen Amendola, Shane and Heidi Soldinger, Ernie and Arit Weir, Lara and Shecky Maluso, and Farah and Ralph Garber. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you.
So we always try to honor birthdays and anniversaries on the first Shabbat of every month. And as Jenny said, there are a lot of them tonight. But I would love to ask anyone who's with us tonight, and I know Mark and Sylvia are here, and Marlo, and I think I heard a few other names, if you would please come up to the bima, or actually, please come up to the bima on this side. I would like to offer a birthday blessing and an anniversary blessing. So any birthdays or anniversaries, if you would like to come up, please do. And then Gordon will have a little song afterwards.
Yeah, I'm working on one right now.
Okay. He's working on the song as we speak.
Da, 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 da. Yeah. Oh, I've got this one. Don't throw off my concentration. Da, 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 da.
Okay. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yichunecha. May God's presence shine upon you and be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God's presence be with you and grant you peace. And let all of us say, Amen. And Gordon's got a song.
Okay,
It's going to be a big surprise.
Yeah. I just made this up. Well, okay, ready? Yom Huledet Sameach, Yom Huledet Sameach. Yom Huledet Sameach. Yom Huledet Sameach.
Okay.
And many more.
Happy birthday, happy anniversary.
When's your birthday?
As we reach the end of our service, we're going to shift gears, and we are going to remember and honor those who have died during this preceding year. Dr. I. Harold Shevlin, Isadora Smith, Elliot Kapchen, Sanford Rubin, Stuart Paley, Bonnie Kapeloff Mamie, Dr. Ian Miller, Jimmy Rabb, Sandra Somick, Michael Gordon, Larry Elson, Bill Chiat, Arnold Trombler, Erica Cornelison, Gladys Shubin, Richard Magano, Clark Smith, Stephanie Rabb Axner, David Ernesto Kaplan, Pat Pate, Annette Goldberg, Maggie Sherman, Sandra Banco Fichtenberg, Nicholas Huff, and George Montario. We also remember and honor the art sites, the anniversaries of the deaths of Harry Abramovitz, Goldie Werner, David Anthony Mautner, Elaine Laband, Suzanne Kramer-Weir, Rita Salant, Joseph Koretsky, Ahuva Ben David, Sidney Dover, Annie Leakin, Vincent Amendola, Adele Metzel, Samuel Lazarus, Ella Trucker, Connie Unger, Lottie Coleman, Carol Abian, Meryl Conheim, and Florence Jeanette. And if anyone has a name they wish to share, please do so. The Mourner's Kaddish is on page 598. Please rise. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei rabbah, be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayachon v'yomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'gala uv'izman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'alam u'lamei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabak v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudsha barichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'yimru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shmaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. May the source of peace grant peace to all those in mourning and comfort to all those who are bereaved. And let us all say amen. Please be seated. Before I call up our students again for the Kiddush and Motzi as we end our service, we have a final song.
We do.
What is it going to be?
It's going to be a kindness song.
Okay.
Okay. And this is one I wrote a while ago. I'm going to tell you a brief story about it. But I couldn't help but thinking, okay, during your little talk. I grew up on television. Many of us did. People grow up on the internet now, but we had just a few channels, and there were some pretty, what are considered really silly shows. But there's been some talk on my YouTube feed, some discussion, about a particular dad on television that was one of the greatest dads in sitcom and TV history. And now I'm saying this and you're going to laugh, but I highly recommend showing this to your kids, and that was Herman Munster. And this show was about a family that looked very different from anybody else in the whole country. And they had different practices, but they were a wonderful family, ate dinner together every night. And he has one of the greatest talks about treating people decently than in any show ever. And they weren't accepted. People were scared of them. And it came at a time when there's a reason why that show was on. But anyway, I just was thinking about that people go, oh yeah, that was what a silly show, but they were considered monsters, and they were the kindest, loving people. So this song is not related to that, except that it's about kindness. And the Finkelstein girls, for those that know them, Tallulah and Ruby, when they were about 5 and 7 years old, asked me if I would write a song about kindness for their kindness path. They began wearing the kindness buttons and doing everything they can to teach people how easy it is to be kind. So it's not in your books, but it's in English. The heart was conceived and designed to work with a clear, open mind. The task the heart was assigned is to be kind. Kindness can circle and wind. It can't be contained or confined. It's just impartial and blind. So be kind. Be kind. It's easy as that. Be kind. It's where it's at. It's as human can be. Be kind. It's all you can do. Be kind. To be the best you, there's no need to be shy. There's an endless supply, and it's free. Kindness can be spoken or signed. It can mend hearts that are broken and maligned. In fact, it's simply defined as being kind. Be kind. It's easy as that. Be kind. It's where it's at. It's as human can be. Be kind. It's all you can do. Be kind. To be the best you. There's no need to be shy. There's an endless supply, and it's free for you and me. The heart was conceived and designed to work with a clear, open mind. The task the heart was assigned is to be kind. The task the heart was assigned is to be kind.
Very beautiful. Thank you. Okay, no Shabbat begins officially until we say the Kiddush and Motzi. So I'm going to ask our students, including our younger ones, B and Tula, I want you to come back up, and Ari, one of our older students, to come up. Pretty much everyone who's a student at CBS, come up front. Gordon, do you have the mic?
I do.
And we're going to do Motzi and Kiddush, and everyone else, would you please rise?
Well, we'll just set it here, and it'll do the best it can. Okay.
Hey, Max. Okay, we're going to do the Kiddush together, so you guys please join us, and Gordon, you're going to lead us.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Amen. L'chaim.
L'chaim. Okay, so Elliot and Tula, would you hold up the challah? And we're going to all do the Motzi together.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. B'tei avon.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
What's
That's good.
Yeah, I did a lot of originals tonight. I did the Vishamru, I wrote that one, I wrote the Modine one, and I wrote
Oh,
the
did you?
Kind
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, see ya.
I always love looking at Danya. She got a big
I hope,
smile on her
all right, I
face.
hope I didn't embarrass you.